Here's a guy who's very familiar with John Gibbons, played for him back in the day. And I believe when he was a rookie, Gibbons was the skipper here in Toronto. He's been on the show many times before. He's a Yahoo Sports analyst. Here is JP Arencibia. How you doing, JP?
Good. How are you guys?
Good, thanks.
We're doing well. We're talking about John Gibbons. You obviously know him personally. What can you tell us about this guy, like behind the scenes, that you really, really appreciated that maybe the audience and the fan base wouldn't be aware of?
Just how personable he is, and I got to have my first experience with him in spring training in 2008. I had just signed my first big league spring training. He was the manager, so it was cool. I mean, he as a young guy, you're nervous, you don't know what to expect, and to have somebody who was able to communicate on your level, because I think all of us have had times in our life when we get somewhere and we expect people to be different because of a different situation, and he was able to just be so humble and put himself on the same level in a conversation with me that he always, from that day forward, he was always like a guy that I really enjoyed my time around. And then, I got to make it to the big leagues. And actually, I didn't have him as my manager until 2013, because when I debuted, it was Cito Gaston. And then 2013, I think that I've been public about my deals with my struggles with anxiety and all that stuff. And at the time, I never opened up to him, and I never told him or anybody for that matter, what I was dealing with. But there was many times that he brought me into his office to say, hey, how you doing? I know there's some stuff season, talk to me, which at that time meant the world to me. So, that's the kind of guy that he is he really, really genuinely cares. And so, it's a sad day, but I think it's something, that it was a decision that was made. And I think the way that it's trending is they had to make a move.
Well, take us back to 2013, because that was, even though you're a part of it, I'm sure you could admit this, the most disappointing season probably in team history. Like, that was after the big Marlins deal and the Dickey trade and the Cabrera signing, and you guys won 74 games that year, and that was Gibbons' first year back with the club for his second stint. When you consider what went down in 2013, is there a part of you that's surprised Gibbons even lasted this long in Toronto?
No, because I don't think that necessarily. It's tough to put fault on a manager who just came in to a team, and I don't know if you guys also remember in 2013. Yeah, that it sucked, but we had 3 starters go down in 4 days, and I don't care what kind of system you have. When you have 3 starters go down in 4 days, you're up the creek without a paddle, and that's kind of where we were at. And so. That wasn't something that Gibby deserved to have the fallback on. I always laugh because as a player, I think I was hard on myself, but I always thought, like, man, why do the managers wear us playing like crap? Why is it his fault? Like, what about us when we sucked? And so I wasn't surprised. I think you're around him, what people sometimes it takes a little bit of down to go up, and when somebody is still very even keel and very professional and still every single day is the same person, when the downtime is coming, that's somebody who you can trust on the upswing.
With JP Arencibia, and that's what I've noticed from all the former players, a lot of the media members that are down there too. Like, he's been on a roller coaster since he's been back in Toronto, even the first time he was here. But like I said, that first year you guys win 74 games, but then eventually in 15 and 16 gets this team back to the playoffs for the first time in over 20 years. And it always seemed like his demeanor was the exact same. And it's almost hard to believe, like a 162-game grind. Then you throw in the playoffs and the pressure and how the city just blew up in 2015. And he just never changed. Like, that's got to be... It's got to be rare. I mean, you've played for multiple managers. How rare is that to see a guy who never changes his composure?
I mean, it's extremely rare, but you have to put it in these terms, right? I think this is something that helped Gibby on the second time around. When you're a manager, and at that time he was managing Double-A for the Padres organization, and all of a sudden you get a big league job again and you have an opportunity to manage in the big leagues again, I think you have a little bit of a different outlook on it. And I think that you are much more grateful, not that he wasn't grateful before, but I think you really get to enjoy it even more, the good and the bad, because of what you were able to experience before. And I think that's what has been able to make him better this second go-around, is because of how the first thing happened. Like, at the end of the day, you step away and you go, I mean, life doesn't suck, dude. I'm in the big leagues. I was just in Double-A. I'm in the big leagues, and I'm managing a team. Alex made some, crazy moves, and all of a sudden these guys got monsters all over the field. And, now they're winning. And you're right, he's the same guy, and that's something that is not the case, because a lot of managers are front runners. And it sucks when you play for a front-running manager, because think about it. Front-running managers, what they do is they're your buddies when you're doing good. But listen, I don't need somebody to tell me when I'm doing good. I mean, yeah, I know. I'm smashing baseballs all around the yard. When I suck is when I need somebody to go like, hey, dude, it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. And that's where I think Gibby is good, is because he had that same message every single day, regardless if you were good or you're bad. And I think that's, again, you're right, it's a rarity. But, it's definitely out there.
With JP Arencibia, obviously he knows John Gibbons very well, and today it was officially announced. We all knew this was coming, that Gibbons will step aside at the end of the year. How awkward do you think that would be in the clubhouse all summer when everyone knew this was coming? Like, everybody knew that John Gibbons would not be here at the end of the year. Is that like an elephant in the room? What's it like in the clubhouse when you know that kind of news is coming for your manager?
I mean, honestly, could it have been something that made it awkward? Yeah, but if you think about it, I mean, if you ask all those guys down there, they love him so much that it's like, no, it's Gibby. We're going to pull for him every single day, and we're going to run through a wall for that guy, because he's going to do the same for us. If it's somebody that maybe wasn't respected as much or loved as much, I think that people in the clubhouse are probably going, hey, when are they going to pull the trigger? Like, let's get this done so we can move on. But I don't, again, with the way Gibby is, no one's going to do that, because every single day, it's like you guys. If you guys know, whoever your boss is, every day you guys come to work, you know that they have your back, and that regardless of what you do, they're going to stick up for you. Then it's going to make coming to work, even if you know that guy's in limbo, you know that you're still going to have that guy's back because of how he treats you guys. And I think that's, kind of what it's like for Gibby.